Oh, it feels like the dominoes are just about to start falling and the tension is palpable. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. So it really does feel like we're in that just tense moment just before things start to happen. There is so much news coming out every single day. This person's interested in this person wants to leave, we're in talks with this person, deals are close, you're seeing it absolutely everywhere, but nothing has fallen just as of yet. And what that is leading me to believe is that we are going to be in one of those classic domino situations where one transfer somewhere happens and that is the catalyst for loads of other transfers happening, right? So yes, today is another transfer video. Nothing is absolutely concrete and official yet, but things seem to be starting to get close. There's some news about interesting things pertaining to players that we would like to get rid of in particular. So without further ado, let's get into it. But first, guys, if you are enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video. Subscribe to the channel because I only need 3 more to get 500 subs. Or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. So a lot of the news at the moment is about Xavi Simons, right? Xavi Simons seems to be pretty close. Talks of being accelerated and advanced. It seems like he's agreed a deal. He's really affordable compared to some of the other targets that we're looking at. So I think we can expect to see this one soon. I released a video the other day doing a bit of a player breakdown about Xavi Simons and how he might fit into the team. Go and check that video out if you are interested. It's got stats, it's got graphics, it's got all of that little brain candy that we like to see when we listen to our football news. But yeah, man, loads of news about Xavi Simons. The Eze news has just fallen off completely, so that's probably dead in the water because he wants loads of money. And I'm not seeing nothing about Morgan Rogers, but then the talk has generally quietened down quite a lot, so I'm not really expecting to see Morgan Rogers anytime soon either. So another transfer that is 100% massively in the news at the moment, it's all about Jorrel Hato, right? Another Dutch starlet, 19 years old from Ajax. He looks really, really good and is ostensibly perfect, right, for what we need, because we desperately need backup for Marc Cucurella. We cannot go into next season without Marc Cucurella having some sort of deputy, and we can't just be putting Malagusto out on the left-hand side every time we need to rest Cucurella. And yeah, Caleb Wiley has gone back out on loan to Watford, so there is zero left-footed left-back cover. So Jorrel Hato makes a lot of sense. It's a really, really affordable price for how good he seems to be, in and around 40 mil. So there are some reports saying Jorrel Hato has agreed terms with us, so we've already got the deal kind of locked in. No word about what that is yet. I imagine it's going to be another, he's 19, so it'll be 7 or 8 years. And supposedly he's handed in a transfer request, so he's really keen to push this one through. And this is a really interesting one, right? Because, you know, this is kind of juxtaposed with the news that Renato Vega to Atletico Madrid is getting really close, and we're looking at getting 40 million euros, 35 million pounds for him as well. So it's kind of a one out, one in situation. But what I will say is I'm not concerned about being stuck in a similar situation with Hato as we are with Renato Vega, because our initial outlay on him is so much more. If we're buying a player in for 40 mil, generally that's probably going to be for the first team, right? Obviously we bought Renato Vega for 9 mil and we're looking at tripling our money on him. If we were going to triple our money on Jorrel Hato, then someone would have to come in with 100 mil-ish, and that's obviously not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're fairly safe. You know, I don't think Jorrel Hato is going to turn around in 6 months and be like, I want to go to Galatasaray because I want to play centre-back for my country, and do you know what I mean? I think we're probably going to be kind of safe in that situation this time. But Jorrel Hato looks like a real player, and we've got a lot of big games coming up next year. There's going to be no Team A, Team B as there was for the Conference League or whatever this year. It's going to be Champions League, Cup runs, pushing for a top spot in the Premier League, and we're going to need all of the defensive steel that we can get. And as far as interest for other players, I am still, and this refuses to go away, seeing stuff about Alejandro Garnacho. So obviously every man and his dog knows that Manchester United are supposedly interested in Nicholas Jackson. Whether the amount of money that was being talked about is true or not is one thing, but the news is definitely there, right? So is it going to be some sort of swap deal? Do we... Garnacho, man, I'm not buzzed about Garnacho. Are you buzzed about Garnacho? Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, and help prepare me for this eventuality if it comes to pass, so I'm not like just really annoyed by it when it happens. If we make a decent chunk of change, as I say, anything for me north of 70 is unbelievable, north of 60 is acceptable for Nicholas Jackson. If we then value Garnacho at 40-45 mil, do you know what I mean, then we're really not making that much for Jackson in the grand scheme of things. But at the end of the day, it is clear that Maresca kind of wants a lot of players for each position. You know, on the right side we've got Neto and Esteval Willian, in the middle we've got Cole Palmer, and it looks like we're going to get Xavi Simons. And on the left at the moment, we've just got Jamie Gittins. And the caveat with that is obviously that Neto plays really well out on the left. And if we do get Xavi Simons, he is no stranger to that left side either. But it would leave left wing technically the only position that we haven't got two strong players for. And I say that, like, don't get me wrong, Tyreek George is good, but he's not that level yet, is he? So I was under the impression that we were only going to buy one more attacker. But, I mean, I guess there's, you know, Garnacho would kind of fill the ranks out a little bit. I'm just not a fan. Like I say, tell me in the comments if you agree with me. Are you with me in this? Do we start a hashtag not Garnacho? Or is there something there that I am absolutely just missing? So please let me know in the comments if you think of anything. Right, so out. There's been a couple of interesting tidbits recently about the Strasbourg connection. So we've, I think, pretty much filled up our loan spots over there now, because you're obviously only allowed to loan out 3 players at one time. And we've loaned 3 players and sold a 4th. So it looks like, other than sales, there's not really much more room to do business with Strasbourg this season unless we sell them any other players. As far as the sale goes, obviously it's Matisse Mugu. We've sold him to Strasbourg for £15 million, which is cool. We bought him for like 10, 12, something like that. So we've made a little bit of profit, and they've got their replacement for Andre Santos. And as far as loans go, we have now loaned out Kendry Paez, Mamadou Sarr, who we only just bought. So I'm a little bit like, how do I wrap my head around that one? I guess maybe it was just to put some money in their coffers so they can afford to buy some other players this season. And it looks like Mike Penders is heading out there as well. So that's 4 players out to the sister club Strasbourg in France. That's, you know, kind of makes up for, you know, the players obviously they've sold and the players that we've taken back from them in the likes of Andre Santos and Jordi Petrovic. So it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's not really much to talk about in the way of money and that. This is just more building of the multi-club model, isn't it? But there is some more interesting news about outgoings in general. So Disasi has been, obviously we're looking to sell Disasi for a little while now. He spent the last half of the season on loan at Aston Villa. There was a lot of news about Newcastle potentially being interested in him, but that seemed to fall off a little bit. But what I've seen today is Villarreal apparently are interested. And we're still looking at that 30 mil price. So I don't think 30 mil is unreasonable for Disasi. You know, he hasn't worked out for us, but at the end of the day, you could definitely do a lot worse for 30 mil. We have spent 30 mil on worse players than Disasi before. So no, I don't think he's perfect for our project, and I don't really want to see him back in the team, but I think, you know, he'll probably go out and do quite well at somewhere like Villarreal. We are finally starting to see some links with Raheem Sterling, right? I mean, I'm not really sure how believable they are. It's just a wage thing, isn't it, man? It's just, the guy's literally on 300 grand a week. Like, even if you took, I mean, the only way I can sort of justify this in my head is if someone does with Sterling what Forest did with Jesse Lingard when they got him. They bought him for 1 season and put him on 300 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? Because that was the only way they could afford to do that. So we're only asking for 20 mil for Sterling, which is already a loss on our part. I'm just worried it's going to turn back into another loan where we end up subsidising most of his wages. But supposedly there is interest in Italy from Juventus and Germany from Bayer Leverkusen. So apparently there's been news that Sterling would like to stay in London, but I just can't see any of the current London clubs, you know, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford. I don't think any of these guys, Crystal Palace even, I don't think any of these guys are going to be able to afford him. I just, you know, straight up, I just don't think that any of those clubs are going to be in a position to be able to pay Sterling 300 grand a week, even if it's on a 1-year deal. Kiernandewsbury-Hall is being courted by Fulham, right? So by the looks of it, they want a loan deal, and we're like, no, we're not really keen for a loan deal. We kind of just want to get rid of him. We've set a 30 mil price tag. It makes sense. I think Fulham is a team that he will get into, and I think Fulham is a team where he could develop as well. They've got a good manager. They've had a good season. They're on the up and up. It's, you know, it's not the Fulham of old where they're like bottom half of the table or whatever. Fulham are a decent squad to be in these days. And I think Kiernandewsbury-Hall could probably do okay over there. I also hope it is a sale and not a loan. I think, you know, with the limited loan slots that are available in the grand scheme of things, I think we need to be reserving those for players that we're actually looking to send out to develop rather than just players that we just don't want to keep around in our squad. We've been doing a lot of that with the likes of Ben Chilwell and the aforementioned Raheem Sterling. I really want to avoid just shipping out players on loan that are not really going to develop or increase their value, and we just don't want them in the squad this season. So for me, 100%, I ship selling Kiernandewsbury-Hall. I think they might have to take a bit of a hit on the 30 mil that they want for him. I think because just on the optics of it, right, the aesthetics, Kiernandewsbury-Hall for 30 million was weird when we bought him for 30 million from the Championship. After a year playing for Chelsea, you still see 30 mil for Kiernandewsbury-Hall, and it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit high, isn't it? So maybe it's a 20 to 25 mil with bonuses depending on certain performance elements. I don't know, but ultimately Fulham do seem to hold quite a strong interest. And I'm going to wrap the video up with some news that we've seen about Christopher Nkunku. So Christopher Nkunku has been drawing interest from Premier League teams, right? So Newcastle and Nottingham Forest are apparently very interested in taking Christopher Nkunku on board. I think it shows, good faith from either of those teams to come in for someone like Nkunku. Obviously, Newcastle are in the Champions League, so they're wanting to bolster their squad. They've just brought in Elanga from Nottingham Forest, and Forest are probably looking for some sort of attacking output to replace that of Elanga, who's just gone to Newcastle. So supposedly, Christopher Nkunku wants to wait for Bayern Munich, right? That's his dream move, is, to go to Vincent Kompany's Bayern Munich. So what that tells me is that we've been talking about Nkunku for a while. Bayern have been in the background for a while. That instantly just says they don't want to pay 50 mil, doesn't it? Absolutely. Or they want to try and wait till the last minute until we're desperate to get rid of him and take him on loan or something. Do you know what I mean? So again, it might be one of those, maybe we have to end up taking a little bit less money for Nkunku than we want. But he's on quite a chunky wage compared to most of the guys. So I guess it's a weird one, isn't it? Because we're going to take a loss on the likes of Disasi and Sterling already. We've made really good money already this season based on the competitions and, the couple of players that we've sold in Madueke and Petrovic and a few academy players and other guys that aren't really getting around the first team. And we're looking like we're going to start freeing up some wage space with a few of the other guys that are going out. So I can see Nkunku being like a deadline day thing. I can see there being like a tussle for him. Do you know what I mean? When, push comes to shove, and there'll be a few teams at the end of the window that are like, we need an attacker. Who's available? Christopher Nkunku. Oh, let's go. Wrestle for him. But supposedly he just wants Bayern Munich. And, that is definitely a more attractive option than even in the Champions League, Newcastle and Nottingham Forest. But if Bayern Munich aren't willing to come in and buy him right now, and one of the other guys are, like, how much does that make a difference to you as a player, right? So that's it, guys. Just a little bit of a news transfer roundup today. There is a lot of really interesting stuff that I've got coming out. So I am a Rizzler paper away, as Rory Jennings would say, from 500 subs. And as of this Sunday coming, will mark my 8-week, 2-month anniversary of starting my YouTube channel. So if you are watching this and you've made it this far, if you aren't subscribed, hit that button, man. Sort me out. Absolutely. If you're enjoying the content and you want to carry on seeing it, do that. But also do it because when I hit 500 subs, I have just recorded a very interesting collaboration that I will be releasing as my 500 sub special. It's going to be therapeutic, you might say. So come on, guys, do me a favor, hit those buttons, get me to 500, and let's get this thing out. So nice one, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there, but as always, I will keep my ear to the ground for more Chelsea news and do my best to be the first to bring it to you. I hope you guys are having a wicked day, and I can't wait to catch up with you very soon. Peace.